A news hour tonight. Many fear dead in Kano as protest enters day 3. President Tinubu to address Nigerians Sunday amid #End Bad Governance protests. Family of Kaduna stray bullet victims seeks government supports as persons with disability in Bauchi demands justice for attack on member. On the foreign scene, at least 32 killed in Al-Shabaab beach attack in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. Hello and welcome to Trust TV's News Hour. I am Chiamaka Mwafo. Many have been reportedly feared killed, while others have sustained injuries as hoodlums clash with security operatives in Kano State. Reports say Jalingo, some areas in Fagi local government, Kofra Nasarawa in Kano municipal area, and some local governments have been in serious tension. According to some eyewitnesses, the face-off began when some groups of youths defied the curfew and hit the streets in continuation of the nationwide protest that has since been marred by violence in the state. Abdul Qadir Musa, a resident of Jalingo, said at least 8 people were shot in the area, including females and children. He added that an elderly woman died alongside 3 others, while many sustained serious injuries. The protesters had trooped to the street at Zaria Road along, but were also dispersed by the security following some time of face-off. The State Police Command is yet to comment on the issue.
Babu amfani wannan abu wallahi tallahi sai kulle to ofisa
Yawwa abin da ke faruwa a rijiyar lemu kenan yara kuma ga abin da ya faru nan. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Abin da ke faruwa nan.
In Kano, a mosque located in the High Court Secretariat area of the state was looted.
Nan da kuke gani masallaci ne, masallaci ɗakin Allah. Shi ma iya ɗaya daga cikin wajen da.
This mosque located in High Court Secretariat, Audubako, is one of the places that was looted by those who came out to protest. They carted away the carpets, speakers, air conditioners, and fans, among other things. As you can see, they carted away every single item and dumped the Holy Quran on the ground. This is unfortunate. The mosque is a sacred place for worship, not an office, but it was looted, all in the name of protest. This protest has turned into something else if places of worship are being looted and vandalized.
Still staying in the northwest over in Kaduna State as the #End Hunger protest enters its 3rd day. Protesters continue the demonstrations despite the violence that claimed lives on the first day of the protest. The protesters, who are mostly youths, were seen at the Ali Akilu and Amadu Bello Way in the heart of Kaduna City. The protesters will carry placards and leaves chanting solidarity songs in Hausa, said all they need is good leadership. The protest was carried out in a peaceful atmosphere.
Protest for our rights because government are not doing well for us. Everything has cost and we are suffering for this life. Everything is costing, and if something get high in price and it's not coming down, so we are protesting for our rights. We want everything to come as normal as it was before.
Are you going to?
Yes, we are doing it peacefully. We are not vandalizing anything. We are not looting. We are not causing any crisis. We are doing it peacefully here.
We come to the North Central, starting with the Federal Capital Territory, where police operatives on Saturday shot at protesters and journalists, covering the third day of the ongoing nationwide hunger protest in Abuja. Trust TV's Dorcas Yakubu reports that while the momentum is dwindling in some states, the case is not the same in the FCT, as the protest seems to be gathering more steam. Here's her report.
The End Bad Governance protest in Abuja has continued to gain momentum. Earlier, protesters rallied at the Moshood Abiola Stadium chanting solidarity songs. These, however, was distorted by security operatives. Security officials of the state shot rounds of live ammunition and tear gas to disperse protesters and journalists covering the ongoing protest in the Moshood Abiola Stadium, the designated place for the protest. A journalist at the scene narrated his ordeal from a hidden place.
Everyone is affected. In the front of Moshood Abiola, this is a stadium. We just found our way into the security post. I am my camera person, and we managed to just escape. It's surprising to see that the police come to around here, despite the fact that this is the venue. Yeah, no one knew the reason. We are just doing our normal business, just like yesterday and the day before yesterday. And then all of a sudden, the police appear from nowhere, on open fire on protesters and journalists and everyone. The protesters are actually in front of the stadium gate, and then of course the police came in. We were shooting from the gate. That was why we had the privilege of going into the security post. Yeah, so but the remaining ones that didn't have the privilege of going into the security post actually got dispersed and then find their way.
Pallets of the bullets rattled the windscreen of one Sienna vehicle, while 3 bullets pierced the trunk of the car conveying Premium Times correspondents deployed to cover the protest. A protester who spoke to journalists lamented on the acts of security operatives, saying the protesters were unarmed.
As of when these protests have been going on, it is the police that have been violent on the harmful protestants, people that were holding just placard. Police have been throwing not just tear gas, live ammunition in the capital territory of Abuja, of Nigeria. Who does that? The police have been violent on us. The police have brutalized us. The police have infringed on our fundamental rights. Yes. And we are not going to take this. Yes. And we are saying enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Today, the 3rd of August 2024, is the 3rd day of the hashtag End Bad Governance protest that began on the 1st of August 2024. And behind me is the Moshood Abiola Stadium, the venue in which the protest has been restricted to by the court in Abuja. But then currently there are no protesters, and reasons is because they were here earlier but were dispatched by security operatives. But as I said earlier, today is the 3rd day. There's still 7 more days until the end of this hashtag End Bad Governance protest that is slated to last for 10 days. My name is Dorcas Yakubu reporting for Trust Television, Abuja.
We go to Plateau State, still in the North Central, as the nationwide hunger protest entered its 3rd day. Protesters in the state have blamed governors of the 36 states as well as the National Assembly for contributing to the hardship citizens are facing through poor leadership. The protesters stated this at the Old Airport Junction venue of the nationwide protest in this state. Adu Musa completes the report.
Unlike other states of the country,
where the protest was marred by violence, looting and vandalism. The exercise in Plateau State has been peaceful. The protesters, while blaming governors and members of National Assembly for not doing enough to cushion the hardship in the country, emphasized the need for all participants to remain law-abiding.
Great Nigerian people, great Hausa people, great Igbo people, great Yoruba people, I want to hear, I want to talk. Can somebody shout victory? Honda ya say Yoruba wa? Honda ya say Hausa wa? Honda no Igbo? We are not here because we are jobless. We are here because things must be done right. Our problem is not tinubu, our problem is Nigerian governance. The Senate, the House of Assembly, all of the parastatals. We can't elect them and they are enjoying our suffering.
Today, people can no longer go to school. Yeah. Today, people can no longer farm because the fertilizer is too much. The amount is too much. Farmers cannot even buy it. Even if you buy fertilizer, you cannot go to farm because there is insecurity.
Their children are abroad. They divide us to rule us. They make the pastors. They bribe our pastors, they bribe our imams, they bribe our sheikhs, so that they will keep quiet, they keep oppressing us.
The protesters also blame religious leaders for contributing to the poor leadership in the country by not calling out elected representatives and speaking truth to power.
Akwai leaders da suka yi tunani idan mun zo nan da a yi rikici saboda su suka sa mana rikicin addini. In Allah ya da rikicin.
There are political and religious leaders who believe that if people come for the protest, crisis may erupt because they are the ones who incite religious crisis in the state. By the special grace of God, religious crisis is over in the state. We will not listen to any pastor or imam directing us to elect a particular leader. That is over. We will henceforth vote for the right candidate.
We are standing here as Nigerians. We are not standing here as Muslims or Christians. We are standing here because there is hunger in our land. We can't be in Nigeria and remain quiet where 10% of our citizens are enjoying and 99%, 90% are suffering. We won't be quiet in a country where the elites are downcasting us and downgrading us to nothing. We won't be quiet in the country whereby there is no food, there is hunger.
The former Minister of Youth and Sport and one of the organizers of the protest explains why the ongoing protest is peaceful in the state.
People have been asking for what is the magic of the success of the protest of this Plateau protest. The magic is that the leaders, two leaders, decided to sacrifice their time to identify with the youth. We understood their language. We understood the problem. And so we are here to provide them with leadership, with guidance, so that they can conduct themselves and express themselves. Any person whom you stifle from expression of his mind is likely going to react violently.
Security operatives, including the police, Operation Safe Haven, as well as other security agencies, have commended the protesters for conducting themselves peacefully in the state. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
From the North Central, we move to the Northeast in Gombe. 2 days after the hunger protest turned violent in the state, traders have reopened their shops. Thursday's protest, which resulted in the destruction of public and private properties, forced businesses to shut down as people remained indoors. Trust TV's Hassan Kohli, who monitored the situation in the Gombe metropolis, filed in this report.
Activities have normalized in Gombe, with traders reopening shops and people continuing with their daily routines. Without traces of vandalized structures and the presence of security operatives in strategic places, one will not think anything unusual had happened. We thank Allah as normalcy has been restored. The governor yesterday told us to reopen market with the assurance of full security. As you can see, everything is going well, and we are happy about this. We hope the government will ease the hardship so that no one will be thinking of protest again. Meanwhile, the state governor, while inspecting affected areas that witnessed destruction during the first day of the protest, directed the State Emergency Management Agency to assess the level of damage and promised government intervention for victims.
I have already directed the State Emergency Management Agency, together with the Ministry of Works and Housing, to go and assess who support whose property has been destroyed. And you can see even now, I've given palliative support to the people who have been given palliative. This is the last time we gave palliative to the people was 18 times, the 18th. So any palliatives that comes, we shall share. But what we don't have, we cannot share. So that is what we are ready to do. I will do that continuously.
The police, on the other hand, announced that they arrested 90 suspected looters in the course of their operation during the protest. A statement issued on Saturday by the State Police Public Relations Officer ASP Buhari Abdullahi commended communities for helping them recover stolen items. From Gombe, Hassan Koli reporting for Trust TV.
And from the northeast, we move down south to Lagos State. The nationwide protests against hunger have entered their third day, with protesters in the state gathering at the Ojota end of the state. While only a handful of them were around in the early hours of the day, the number, however, increased with time. They had placards with different inscriptions to show up momentum for their demands, which included the reversal of the fuel subsidy removal, among others. The protesters, who chanted different songs, lamented the insensitivity of the government to the plight of the ordinary Nigerians, especially in the wake of the devaluation, which has seen the value of the naira slump to a historic low. Police officers were on the ground at the rally venue to ensure a hitch-free procession.
As far as the police is peaceful, nobody is being attacked. They are still, even these are possibly moving. No vehicles attacked. Boys are moving. They are not there to express their grievances against the poor policy of the government. That's why they are outside, and they want to continue to be outside to continue to drive demands from the governors in Nigeria.
Our achievements have gone so far ever since this agitation came on limelight. You can see the government have somewhere or the other they are jittery, and they are trying to put some things in order. As at now, protests in Lagos is law and order have not been breached. Everywhere is calm. This is a peaceful protest that we emphasize for. It's still peaceful.
Tuber of yam costs close to 10,000 naira. Help us to reduce food inflation, reduce general inflation, reduce unemployment, reverse electricity bill by electricity tariff back to the normal price. We just suddenly wake up and we see all sorts of bad 200 naira, 300 naira for different tariff. Reverse it.
You cannot start telling protesters how they should show their anger to the government. It means you are still trying to cage us. You don't want that freedom for us. Even our president had protested in the past. There was no one actually told him that this is where you should go, this is where you should not go. So this should not be happening.
In Osun State, as the nationwide hunger protest enters its third day, residents have lamented that the protest has adversely affected their businesses despite the peaceful nature of the exercise. Though the protesters conducted themselves in an orderly manner, businesses did not open because of fear of attacks and looting, as reported in some states of the Federation. Hamidu Ewade completes the report.
On the third day, the protesters in Osun State again converged at the Freedom Park, moved to Okefia, Dada Estate, Awosuru area, and came down to Olaiya intersection. Security operatives, including men of the Nigerian Police Force, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, and the Department of Secret Services, accompanied the protesters all through the march to maintain law and order. However, residents said the protest paralyzed their businesses.
Well, it is a very good thing that this is day 3
And since it's the right of the citizens to protest when they are not really happy with a kind of policy, and this has given room for this. And we're happy that the first day was peaceful, the second day was peaceful, today has been peaceful. We are going to maintain the peaceful atmosphere. So this is the 33, and day 4 is going to be peaceful, day 5 will be peaceful, to the end of the protest, everything is going to be peaceful.
I think this is the only way Nigerians can show their grievances so far, because men looking at it, town is not smiling at all. So this is is our constitutional right to protest against any bad governance. Maybe there's any bad things that's happening in the country. So as far as we have started this protest, we will surely achieve our aims.
Some of the residents said the protest paralyzed their business activities and affected the means of livelihood of many.
The protest is peaceful in Osun State here, but it has crippled a lot of business. Customers are not coming out. A lot of people are not coming out. Transport is very scarce. Public transport is very scarce, and buying and selling is reduced to minimum level.
Well, as you can see, particularly the first day, which is Thursday, as well as Friday, hardly could people come out to open their businesses or display their wares. Even when people come out, they don't open shops, they don't display what they are selling. Out of the fear of the EndSARS saga, nobody wants to run at the law. So businesses were crippled totally.
The protesters dispersed around 3 p.m. and vowed to continue the protest on Sunday. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
President Bola Tinubu will on Sunday, August 4, address the nation via a broadcast at 7 a.m. The special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngilali, made this known in a statement on Saturday titled President Tinubu to Address the Nation. He urged television, radio, and other electronic media outlets to join the network services of the Nigerian Television Authority and the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria for the broadcast. Ngilali said the broadcast will be repeated on the network services of the NTA and the FRCN at 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. of the same day. Since the hunger protest started on Thursday, opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP) and Tinubu's contenders in the last election, ex-Vice President Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, have loudly called on him to address defiant youths who have taken to the streets to express their displeasure over the wobbling economy and the attendant hardship in the country. The police on Saturday said a policeman who was reportedly murdered on the first day of the #EndBadGovernance nationwide protest has miraculously survived. 9 police officers sustained various degrees of injuries during attacks by protesters. One of them, who was initially reported dead, miraculously survived but remains in critical condition, according to Force spokesman Muyiwa Adejobi in a statement on Saturday. Adejobi also said a total of 618 suspects have been arrested so far for various violent crimes during the protest. The suspects were arrested in Abuja, Gombe, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Nasarawa, and Sokoto states. At a briefing on Thursday, the Inspector General of Police IGP Kayode Egbetoko has said a policeman was murdered while on duty during the #EndBadGovernance nationwide protest. He had lamented that events in major cities on Thursday were mass uprising and looting, not protests. Activist DJ Adeojun had on the same day challenged the IGP to name the policeman he claimed was killed, insisting that it was not true that a cop was killed. Now, the leadership of the organized labor on Saturday warned the Nigerian police force and other security forces to stop what it described as massacre of protesters carrying out nationwide demonstrations against hunger in the land. It also called on President Tinubu to solve the present crisis in the country and address the demands of protesting Nigerians, while also demanding that he should call the operatives to order. President of Nigerian Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, said that the clearest path to a lasting solution is for the government to sit down with leaders of the protests and negotiate in good faith, insisting that threats by police and the military would not solve anything. Ajaero, who also questioned the professionalism of the police high command and its officers, said the police, as the lead security agency in managing internal security, have questions to answer as regards the death of innocent protesters across the nation. The Labour leader said the police officers should divert their energy towards marauding bandits wreaking havoc in the country and be brutal against them rather than innocent Nigerians demanding their rights. This is a news hour on Trust TV. Still to come. Family of Kaduna stray bullet victims seeks government support as persons with disability in Bauchi demands justice for attack on member. This story is a more when we return. Please do stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Now a recap of our top stories. We told you that many feared dead in Kano as protest enters day 3. We also informed you of President Tinubu's address to Nigerians on Sunday amid end bad governance protests. Now, earlier we reported about many had been reportedly feared killed, while others have sustained injuries as hoodlums clashed with security operatives in Kano. Reports say that Jigawa, Krona to Bachirawa areas in Fage local government, Kurfa Nasarawa in Kano municipal, and Ungawa Uku area of Toroni local government have been in serious tension. Now, according to some eyewitnesses, the face-off began when some group of youths defied the curfew and hit the streets in continuation of the process. Now, one of those eyewitnesses, a resident in the area, Zaradin Yakubu, is joining us to give us an update. Good evening, Zaradin.
Hello, good evening.
Thank you for joining us on Trust TV's News Hour tonight.
Thank you for having me this night.
So, I understand that you're a resident of the area. Can you give us, an account of what actually happened in your area today?
Yeah, actually what happened, it started in the morning when, although there is curfew in the town due to some violence that erupted during the first day of the protest, but still some youths are coming out to protest on streets. And it happened today as they were coming out on the major popular Katsina Road, which comprises Dala, Ungogo, and Pagi local government area. Many youths came out to protest, chanting, end hunger, and other things. So at that very moment, some police in their convoy were going around on surveillance. So that was when the youth started throwing stone on them, which propelled the police to started shooting sporadically, and unfortunately many people were injured, and to the extent that some were killed, including a woman who has 2 kids. She was even inside, not at the road, not by the roadside, but she was sitting inside, but a stray bullet went and killed her. So many people died, honestly.
Okay, we keep saying many people. So far, has there been any kind of official report from the government in your state telling how many people were actually casualties of this incident today?
Honestly, there is no any figure from the government, but eyewitnesses have given different figures. As I told you, the place comprises about 3 local government areas, so it is a very large place. And the shootings happen at 2 different places. One is at Kurna area, that's where I am, and the second is at Jigawa area. At Kurna area, where I reside, there are about 3 people that were reported to have been dead. And even me, I witnessed 2 corpses that were kept by the roadside. And I saw about 4 people that were injured, currently at hospital receiving treatment. They were all shot by the police. But in Rijal Lemo area, that's where that woman was killed by stray bullet. It is said that about 7 to 8 people were also confirmed dead there, courtesy of the shooting by the police.
All right, thank you so much, Zaradin Yakubu, for that eyewitness account of what took place in Kano today. Please do stay safe.
Thank you very much.
That was Zaradin Yakubu from Kano, was giving us an update on the situation where many are feared killed during a police shootout with Kano residents. Now let's move over to Borno State, where Governor Babagana Zulum has commiserated with hospitalized victims of the Kawuri blast that killed 20 people, as well as those injured during the hunger protest in Maiduguri. He was speaking at the specialist hospital in Maiduguri with government officials who were on a sympathy visit to the victims. Trust TV's Bitrus Kuruti has more.
Speaking to newsmen shortly after exiting the ward, Governor Zulum expressed displeasure with the bomb attack that happened in Kawuri community of Konduga local government, as well as the hunger protest in Maiduguri, which led to looting and vandalism by supposed protesters. He said the state government will utilize urea fertilizers for security purposes.
As the security situation improves, we decided to use urea fertilizers. I cannot judge by now, but I think we shall discuss with the researcher with a view to determining the potentials of urea in making explosives. If the fertilizers are, if the usage of fertilizers will bring such problems, I think there is a need for us to review the policy of Borno State government as regards the utilization of urea fertilizer in Borno State. But looking at the entire scenario, you can understand that something has gone wrong. Over 90% of the protesters are children. Most of them are below age of 9, 10. And it is unfortunate that most of them don't have parents.
Meanwhile, the governor in a Saturday morning state broadcast condemned the killings and injuries of Kawuri community bomb explosions and other attacks carried out by Boko Haram terrorists and ISWAP, while condemning the destruction, looting and vandalization of properties. Zulum frowned at the use of children during violent demonstrations, warning that any further protest laced with the intention of committing criminal offenses will be severely dealt with. The governor suspended the curfew, advising residents to resume their legitimate activities, assuring of his commitment to cushion the effects of economic hardships and hunger crisis.
A 6-year-old child carrying a placard is amazing. It must have been directed by someone. Most of those children are not from Borno State. While you are not discouraging the Almajiri education, children must, however, have their teachers, parents or guardians looking after them. A situation where thousands of children living in Maiduguri without care from anyone in the name of Almajiri must be looked into. I wish to equally express my sympathy to all the innocent people who were affected by Thursday's so-called protests marred with violence, vandalism and looting of properties. The government of Borno State will not relent in its efforts to ensure peace and prosperity in all parts of the state. Implemented various measures to ease hardships and foster development in our communities, from improving infrastructure to investing in education and healthcare, pouring on local scholarships worth millions have been awarded. Fellow citizens, we are dedicated to creating a better quality of life for all citizens of Borno State.
The governor added that he has taken note of the agitations of the protesters, assuring that the state government will partner with the federal government and other stakeholders to alleviate the sufferings of the people. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
You go to Adamawa State, where its governor, Amadu Fintiri, has commended the people, especially youths in the state, for conducting themselves peacefully during the ongoing hunger protest in the country. The protest, which commenced nationwide on August 1 as proposed by the organizers of the protest, would end on August 10. Gibson Soadigo has more.
The hunger protest remains peaceful in Yola, the state capital of Adamawa. Protesters are still enjoying the company of security personnel deployed to ensure the protest is carried out within the ambit of the law. Adamawa state government representatives visit all the protest scenes in solidarity with protesters. Leaders of the protest appeal to the federal government to bring back fuel subsidy and address the current hunger. They appreciate Governor Fintiri for the laudable programs in the state, while promising to ensure none of their members destroy government or private properties.
By the advent of this removal of fuel subsidy, please, we are begging all the relevant authorities, which we believe that you people are extensions of those people. You are going to meet them and tell them that this is the plight of Nigerians. We are dying. Insecurity also has been the order of the day. We cannot go back to our farmlands to farm anymore. Our bushes has become the dent and hideout of banditry. Please, we need security in this country. We are dying. We cannot sleep with our two eyes closed. We know what we faced during Boko Haram. We know how the trauma we faced. Please, sir, we are begging you, please do the needful.
Addressing the protesters, Governor Fintiri, through his SSG, commended the youth and other civil society organizations in the state for maintaining decorum during the protest. He acknowledged the hardship people in the country are passing through due to hunger and poverty, and assured them that his administration will continue to prioritize welfare of the masses.
Any country that does not address those problems will see problems. So the governor said, first of all, come and listen to you. He also must articulate his own for here, articulate what you send to Abuja, and also tell the local governments what they should do on their own. But certainly, he is listening, he is watching. It is almost the same problem in the whole country, so it is correct that you are venting it. And I like the leadership you are demonstrating, all of you, that you are leading these young people to a correct, peaceful protest. That is your right. Thank you. Anybody taking advantage other than that is not doing you a favor. Yes. Any destruction is still negating against our own little progress as we have as it is today.
The protest is expected to last for 10 days. Gibson So Adugo, Trust TV News, Yola.
The Jigawa state government says the curfew imposed on the state is part of a larger set of measures instituted to curb the violence that greeted the hunger protest in the state. The State Commissioner of Police, A.T. Abdullahi, who addressed the press on Saturday, said the state has been grappling with violence and property destruction following the nationwide protest. Here's the report.
Commissioner Abdullahi outlined measures taken to mitigate the situation, to include the deployment of additional security personnel, engagement with community leaders, and heightened social media monitoring. Despite these efforts, some groups, particularly teenagers, have engaged in destructive activities, leading to significant damage to government properties and disruption of the local economy. The police boss said operatives have so far arrested 212 individuals, with 74 charged to court. He said items recovered from the looters include motorcycles, bicycles, and various goods. Abdullahi emphasized that anyone participating in disruptive activities will face legal consequences.
On day one of the protest, some unscrupulous and unpatriotic elements who are bent on destabilizing the polity decided to use and engage teenagers, leading to violence and destruction of public properties, especially palliative shops here in Yelawawa, Shuarin, and Government House in Duse Metropolitan. The teenagers have shown unruly behavior, refusing to listen to our appeals. They have ignored warning and pleas to desist from violence. Instead, chose to engage in destructive behaviors.
Alhamdulillah, we have received various support from the different security agencies in the state, and alhamdulillah, the situation in Jigawa state is relatively calm. There were no instance of security breach except in few areas. And in those areas where there are security breach, the security agencies are fully in control of the situation. So alhamdulillah, we are grateful to Almighty Allah for bringing back peace in the state. And alhamdulillah, we are grateful to all the residents and citizens of Jigawa state that have cooperated with the curfew.
The curfew remains in place to help the state recover and ensure the safety of its residents.
Now, business and other activities have resumed in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, following the peaceful and violent-free protest in the state. This is even as residents commended organizers as well as protesters for ensuring that the demonstrations were not hijacked by hoodlums. Here's the report.
Business premises, ministries, petrol stations, markets, among other places, were captured in full operations after the first and the second days of the protest, as security operatives remained on standby across the city of Jalingo, the Taraba state capital. However, some states of the Federation had imposed curfews as a result of the violent protest, while hoodlums took advantage of the exercise to wreak havoc. Before the commencement of the protest, most residents of the state, according to opinion polls, were not in favor of the protest in the state, unless there were assurances of peaceful exercise.
Protest is good. It will be good by the time that at least you follow the due process. All the channels have been carried along. At least you have reported everything to the security to the appropriate authority. From there, you will get an approval, then you can do your protest. But in terms of in the time when on the process of doing the protest, where we say it will not be good, because there are some certain hoodlums that will hijack the protest and do another thing. So before protest will be partake, you should make sure that you prepare well.
This issue of palliative, if they were given to give out to the people, they used to take it to the market and sell it. So you see, from all indication, common man have to protest, because if this thing, if they want to help people, maybe government should come out with some modalities to solve the issue of palliative.
Some shop owners and residents said the matured manner the protesters conducted themselves is the first of its kind in the history of the state and the country at large. They applauded the state governor, Abu Kefres, for coming out to address the protesters, and also agreeing to channel their grievances to the president.
But Taraba beats me to it, honestly. And in protest, I was even in the shop. At a point, I was scared. I was like, Murife Mutefi, because it's likely to end into chaos. But to my greatest surprise, it ended peacefully. There was nothing like rikichi, everywhere was calm. Our governor came out and addressed the youth. Everybody was satisfied and we all left.
Based on what we have seen so far yesterday, this is one of the peaceful protests we have seen so far, and one of the best protests so far without any destroying of properties and everything. And it's one of the best states where we've seen governor coming out to discuss, to talk, to hear the cry of the youth and whatever it is. So I believe this is one of the best protests we've seen so far in Taraba state.
Thank God our own here in Taraba, based on how we see it, how the children show their protest concern, is not the way we see it in other states.
Protest is a constitutional right. We have right to protest, but peaceful protest. So the protest took place in Taraba state, but it was a peaceful demonstration. Nobody was injured and no properties was destroyed. And even we thank the effort of the executive governor on his tireless effort to attend to the youth, and he gave them maximum cooperation.
Residents here say, although the nationwide protest was scheduled to last for 10 days, the second day of the protest may just be the last in the state.
Now, the family of Husseini Tureki, who was shot on the first day of the hunger protest in Kaduna State, is calling the government to come to their aid. According to the family, the victim was shot while on his way to the hospital at Tudunwada. Trust TV's Bello visited the family's residence at Abakba in the metropolis. Here's his report.
It was a black day for this family
as their father was shot on the day of the protest, though he was not part of the protest, but he lost his life as a result of violence that erupted.
Yusuf Danso Hospital. They should come and pay for the medical. He now just carried his bag. On his way going, police started shooting. They're now shooting at the back of his head. The person that is carried on top of the machine, he fall, he break his jaw, and he was shot at his stomach. He's still in the 44 hospital up to now.
The already devastated family says his death has created a great vacuum.
We are in pains and have no one to feed us at this time. He would go out every day and fend for us. He was not part of the protest. He was only on his way to the hospital to see his daughter, who was admitted. There he met his death.
He died and left 13 children and 7 dependents living in the rented home.
We're on the rent house, so we don't know how to do. Our issue is that we need government to intervene into this issue. For government to bring that police that shot him and to know how they will do with his children.
And he is the one helping us. He's already died. We don't have anybody now. Please, Gombe, enter this issue.
The remains of Hussein Turaki was laid to rest at the Agbapa cemetery as relatives and sympathizers pray for the repose of his soul. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
In Bauchi State, persons with disabilities are demanding justice after one of them was manhandled by the security agent in a viral video during #EndBadGovernance hunger protest on Thursday in the state. The incident occurred at the main gate of Bauchi State Government House. Trust TV Adamu Imam completes the report.
Hamza Waziri said he is fighting for the right of the common man, and government should realize that a significant number of Nigerians are hungry. He added that constitutional provision gives every person right to express their views over issues of governance.
That's not true. There is no any barricade. I just went in front of a public building, and that's the Bauchi State Government House. Carrying a placard with an inscription of saying, "No to nepotism, job opportunity for all, not only for the rich and the powerful politicians, say no to bad governance." That was what my placard was carrying. And I'm peaceful and civilized. So what happened is the police jumped the fence and said that I have captured their face in the video, which I didn't do that.
We decided to join the hunger protest on Thursday. We selected the educated among us so that we conduct ourselves and do a peaceful demonstration. Then police officers came and started harassing us close to the gate of Government House and beat our leader, also tried to snatch his phone. His associates sympathized with him over the attack by security agents during the hunger protest in the state.
It is a shame, and I hope that the Inspector General of Police, the Executive Governor of the state as the Chief Security Officer, will investigate and bring this officer, to book, because this is dehumanizing and it's unacceptable. And the Nigerian people are just saying, this hardship affects every one of us, be it citizen, be it security personnel. This is our country and we want it to be better.
They were using stone to be stoning people, even the police. They were stoning the police, they were burning tires, they break the road, they barricade the roads. They were trying to create a lawful assembly and a lawful society where the police cannot agree with that. Under the Constitution of Nigeria, we have the legal mandate, the powers to arrest anybody that is trying to create mayhem.
The state government had issued a press statement directing a thorough investigation into the viral video showing security guard physically assaulting a person with disability during the protest. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
You're still tuned to News Hour on Trust Television. Still ahead, business, foreign, and sports. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Nigeria has secured at least $1.25 billion in loans from the World Bank and the African Development Bank, AFDB, to boost electricity supply under the administration of President Bola Tinubu. On December 14, 2023, the World Bank approved the $750 million distributed access through renewable energy scale-up projects in Nigeria. More recently, on July 31, 2024, the African Development Bank Group, AFDB, approved the loan of $500 million to the Federal Republic of Nigeria to help transform the country's electricity infrastructure and improving access to cleaner energy sources. The loan from the World Bank is structured into three distinct segments, cumulatively forming the $750 million total financial package. This package is segmented into credits of $315 million, $250 million, and $150 million, each year marked for different facets of the project and subject to currency conversions as necessary. The primary implementers of this project are the Rural Electrification Agency and the Lagos State Electricity Board, with significant support from the Federal Ministry of Power, the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, the Federal Ministry of Environment, the Nigerian Electrification Regulatory Commission, and the Federal Ministry of Finance. Away from Nigeria, at least 32 people have been killed and many more wounded in a suicide bombing and gun attack on a popular beach in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda-linked armed group, claimed responsibility for the attack on Lido Beach late Friday via an affiliated radio station. The assault began when a suicide bomber blew himself up at entrance of Beachview Hotel. The other attackers tried to storm the hotel and also fired on people on the beach where many residents were walking or seating, according to witnesses and police. Reports say security forces killed all the attackers at the scene and captured another one who was driving a car filled with explosives, adding that one soldier was killed and another injured. Somalia's federal government condemned the attack, state media reported on Saturday. Two men claiming to be Russian nationals and saying they were taken captive in Niger by militants linked to Al-Qaeda have appeared in a video published on a media platform affiliated to the extremist group. The video, which appeared on the Azalaka platform on Friday night, showed two men who said they were seized by the militants while working in Baga in northeastern Niger. The men, seated side by side and dressed in traditional local clothing, spoke into the camera. One identified himself as Yuri, saying he is a geologist and was working for a Russian company when he was arrested by JNIM, the Al-Qaeda affiliated group in the region. The other man, who also said his name, which was difficult to make out, said he had been in Niger for a month. Sources are yet to independently verify the video or the date it was filmed, while the men did not say when they had been detained. This is the first known sighting of the men. If their account is confirmed, they will be the first Russians of the Sahel believed to be kidnapped by terrorists, despite a strong and growing Russian presence across the region. And finally, in sports, Koinsola Ajayi and Favour Ashe claimed the place in the men's 100-meter semi-finals at the ongoing 2024 Olympic Games on Saturday. The duo are making their debut at the Olympic Games. Ajayi won his 5 in 10.20 seconds, and in swimming, Ada Kumwando finished second in heat 6 of women's 50 meters freestyle behind Elizaveta Pacheski. The 16-year-old, however, failed to make it to the final. Wishing all our athletes in the Paris Olympic 2024 success and a good outing. And that's it for News Update tonight on News Hour tonight on Trust TV. For more of our news programs and documentaries, please do want to follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Thank you for joining us.
Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.